I'm fascinated by the fact that you've been someone that's debated guys like James White, Jeff Durbin, Sean McDowell, Andrew Wilson. How did you get into the debating experience? I assume it started once you got into Time Magazine. I guess people started reaching out asking to have conversations about the topic of homosexuality as a pastor and how it's where it sits in Christianity and whatnot.
Yeah, I mean, to be clear, actually, I don't like debates, not because of anything about the debate themselves, but because I've learned that debates don't actually change anyone's mind on either direction. But there are a few people that have either been influential in my life or that I have personal relationships with. For instance, uh, Preston Sprinkle and Sean McDowell and Dr. Michael Brown. These are folks that I know personally. We talk offline. And so I'm more willing to engage with them publicly. Uh, James White and Jeff Durbin, I used to follow as a teenager. And so that was like, I was more interested in talking to them because they used to be influential in my journey. Um, Andrew Wilson, those are the real conversations that I think, regardless of the arguments, I just think when you have somebody who's a professional debater full time versus somebody who's a pastor who's trying just to share my understanding of something, like I'm not sure that those aren't intended to go anywhere. Like if you when I'm in a conversation with with Sean McDowell, people who watch that get that we are actually having a dialogue and that there's actually areas that we're trying to work together on. But some of the more intense debates, not sure how helpful they ultimately are, but I do go into that realm sometimes.
Yeah, were you familiar with Andrew's work prior to the debate? Like, did you know what you were getting yourself into?
Not before I was invited to do that. Looked him up and did some research before the debate, of course. But in that particular debate, I was under the impression we were going to be talking about the Bible. I'm a PhD student in the Bible. I've devoted my life to the Bible. I can have a conversation about the Bible. Um, and I think we talked about the Bible for about 5 minutes in the course of a 2 hour debate. And so that was one part that I didn't love, but I also knew there was no chance of winning a debate when you have somebody like Andrew Wilson and an audience of 700,000 people that are all already on Andrew Wilson's team. So my goal in that situation is just to be Christ-like. I didn't think I was going to win anything, but if I could be compassionate and gracious, especially when those folks aren't being gracious, hopefully people can see the fruit of the Spirit and whatever impact that leaves.
Yeah, because I assume then you go into conversations with Sean McDowell and you don't even think of convincing him or his audience that your side is more correct. You were just trying to demonstrate that you were a Christ-like human being.
Not with Sean McDowell. Andrew Wilson, I had no pretense that I was going to quote unquote win that debate. Sean McDowell is not really a debate. Both times I've talked to him publicly have been conversations, not really back and forth debate style. Um, and I do think I do get emails. I did get emails after my most recent conversation with him from people who want to learn more. And I think he's got the same from my side. And so those conversations, I'll call them, feel much more generative because people actually can learn something and actually are interested in learning the other side.
Yeah, are you interested at all in doing more debates in the future, or do you think you're just trying to keep it more conversational?
Um, Again, I've never really been a debater. I don't have the skills of a conservative debater like so much of conservative YouTube is. There are certain audiences that if I get the chance to speak to, I'll do it because I want to expose those folks to what a real LGBT Christian looks like. But generally, my rule has been to not do that many debates. And so probably in the past 10 years, I've done like five. So I'll probably keep that same rhythm in the future.